Okay, so here is the second video, a little bit on my backstory, and it'll go over some major topics that I'm going to be bringing up, and then you guys can add to them, or if you have questions or something you feel like I need to talk about more, then you can tell me. Um, Obviously, baby belly. So, mom life, pregnancy, um, fertility stuff, I definitely want to discuss. Those are three major things. Because the past 6 years now, I have had, this will be baby number 3 for me. Even though I did say I have 4 again, I have a stepson um, that I am so fortunate to be a part of his life. And I get to watch him grow too, just like my little guys. So, yeah, those are major topics that I'm going to talk about. You know, the terrible twos, the toddler phase, the whole bit, the potty training, down to the detail. You want it, I'll give it to you. Um, it's something as simple as what everybody's been asking me about. How do I get all the free stuff that I've gotten for baby stuff? I've been so fortunate to get all of these things and have the resources to get them. And I'll go over that. Sorry, guys, just got done eating my lunch. But another thing that I really do want to discuss is, one, my love of animals and what I plan on doing with it, because I still have family members that are asking constantly, are you going to continue to pursue something with animals career wise? Are you going to pursue medical like the rest of your family, things like that? Because those that do know, my mom is a retired firefighter. She was an officer for Miami-Dade County. And that definitely was a major part of my life until actually I found out I was pregnant with my oldest. That was normal for me. So yeah, I'll go over first responder life, that kind of thing. Military life, which played a big role in my life as well, just because of first responder, and also I have family that have been first responders or are first responders now, as well as my military background. My grandfather was in the military. I have had other in-laws that have been in the military, and now I am currently with someone that is a veteran that has also served. So those are big, obviously big reoccurring things that have happened in my life, that I've had a part of, that I've dealt with before. So those are big things. One of the major topics for me is going to be mental health with you guys, because I have had family members that have had not mental health issues, but mental health that I have had to adapt and come to due to things like that. One of the major things, which was before this 10-year mark that I told you guys we were going to stick within, was my mom. My mom had a very tragic, could have been a lot worse, horse accident when I was I would have been a freshman in high school, and it was like my little peek into the world of mental health, because, like I said, my family, it wasn't that it was brushed under the rug, but it was not something that was brought to the dinner table and said, okay, I have anxiety, or I have a disorder, or a mental disorder, whatever people believe in, and that kind of things. Even as a kid, growing up in, this is now a more common situation, being diagnosed with ADD as a kid, in third grade, and going through that through high school, and trying to realize that my view on it, it's not for everyone, where I view it now, and even first graduating from high school, realizing my view on it is probably a lot different than some people believe, and that's okay. again, this is, my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to disagree with it. It's just me getting the information out there, and like I said, it's somebody hopefully at helping them. What other topics? Like I said, mental health is a big thing. I have gone through quite a bit of mental health endeavors myself, due to past events, that I can, graciously go over and say, yes, I've overcome a majority of them. I think everybody still to this day still has some form of, stress or stressor that can cause a short wire, I guess, in your brain to cause you to be depressed or anxious or, have panic attacks. To have, and this is again a medical thing, you believe me or you don't, and I will obviously voice my opinion on it, particular behaviors, manic behaviors, borderline manic behaviors, things like that would cause you to do things in your life or choices. And a lot of that has to stem back from outside stresses that I believe in, or things that you have gone into lead you up to doing things like that. So I'm probably going to touch a very fine line right now with the way the world is of why we make the decisions we do. And the reason I'm going to go over that, and this is, again, something that is not in the 10-year mark, but it will make sense to my story when you hear all of it unfold, is since I was in middle school. So middle school would have been for me from 2001 to 2002 through 2005. Okay. During that time frame, I really had my first ever endeavor of having that little wire triggered in your brain, from seeing things. And I mean, obviously there are people that are younger than me that have probably seen things, or, have been a part of an event that have occurred like that. And what I'm getting at is, when I was in middle school, I mean, obviously you can do your research. I'm really not going to go into it because it's something of the past at this point. Is in seventh grade. I mean, I'm not going to go into major detail past that. When I was in 7th grade, there was a major event that occurred at my middle school where someone committed a crime, a very violent crime that shouldn't have occurred. And it was my first itty-bitty peek into mental instability and just stresses of life and things like that. And again, like I said, I am very fortunate for the way that I was brought up, because not everybody is the same and, has the same childhood as everybody else. Some of us have harder childhoods than others. And it was my first dealing with, a passing of someone, and it was not in a calm, a family member passing away, even though the same year my grandfather had passed away. That was very different than this occurrence at school, because it was something that I felt like I was a part of, just being there as a student, and, wanting to know where this classmate, was going to end up, and what was going to happen next after, such a awful thing happened. And I still, to this day, have dealt with it since after even graduating high school. There was, retrials, things like that, laws changing that could possibly allow a person to, try to seek whatever it is that they are seeking for and looking for more of a way out. So, yeah, between middle school, 7th grade, my first major endeavor, and this person a classmate passed away due to a violent crime. My mom's accident in high school, and then the next big thing was my parents divorcing, actually, I would have been a year out of high school. So that was a big thing. It was a very big glimpse of, okay, where's my brain going to set? Where is my mental stability going to be at the end of this? Because, obviously, like I said, other people that are younger than me or not younger than me, but are maybe even the same age or younger or older, might have dealt with something differently or something similar as a child. And I mean, a lot younger than I was than when I went through the stuff I did. But they can sit back and look now and say, okay, those little things, even though they might have been little things to other people, they were big things to us. They helped shape us to who we are. So yeah, that was a major thing. And I'm going to just brief this over so that I can go into the major topics, because I could sit and talk for hours regarding like each of these events and, what it did and so on and so forth for me, good or bad. Then it would be easier. So again, my parents divorced a year after I was out of high school. And like I said, I bounced back and forth between parents' homes. In that time, I was a teenager. I started dating. I was finding my place. They tell you that, your late teens and early 20s are when you find yourself, and so on and so forth. And I wholeheartedly believe that those are major pinpoints that do shape your life, and that, turn you into who you are now. It's what you do with them that makes the difference. So yeah, I mean, once my parents split up and I started dating, I was trying to just find myself and enjoy myself, because I did not, my focus in high school was competing. For those that don't know, I was very active in the 4-H community as well as FFA. For those of you that, are not aware of those things, it is Future Farmers of America, and 4-H is kind of like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts combined with farming, is the best way to explain it. And there's so much more to it, and it was such a great, how to explain this? Not disguise for what was going on in my life, but it definitely helped. Sorry, I'm adjusting, guys. It helped make me who I am today, made me be this animal lover. And I mean, I've always been very fortunate that I always had pets around as a kid, and got very lucky that from middle school to high school, I horseback rode a lot, which is still a big thing in my family, even though, my parents are divorced. It's still a very large thing on both sides, which is really cool. And it rubs off on all my kids, so they love it too. And it's something that we keep within our family, and we absolutely adore it. And it's something that, from what I understood, was part of both sides of my family, from generations back, not just my parents or me or my kids. So it's just in the bloodline naturally. Now I completely lost my train of thought. So yeah, I mean, otherwise it's a huge deal for me and where it set me up. When that occurred and I started dating, I met my kid's father back and forth. We were not immediately together, but yeah. Anyways, we met. It was about a year before we physically started dating. This hair is going to drive me nuts. And then I became pregnant with my daughter probably about a year into our relationship. And was very happy with, okay, I'm going to be a mom. And I loved the idea of being a mom. And it was definitely a major eye-opener for me. Well, in the retrospect of that relationship, and this is one of those major topics, I'm not even going to attempt it anymore, is the mental health of things. And I'll put it this way, and this is going to be the short retrospect, and everybody's going to be like, ooh, cliff note, like, I want something, I want you to tell me more. And I will get into it because, again, it's going to be a major topic that I discuss, because I feel like so many more ladies specifically, and it's not just ladies, but men can go through it too, that I see that, little, or at least what my mom likes to say, red flags that we don't see as young moms, as young adults in relationships. And I don't know, whether that's just our lack of wanting to pay attention to our parents or whatever the case may be. But it's, we don't catch them until things might get out of hand, things turn into things that turn into something that we didn't want them to. And where I'm getting at is, I was with my kid's father for 5.5 years. We had obviously 2 beautiful children, and I would not trade that situation. I would have hoped for it to be different, but if it was not for that situation and the way it turned out, I would not be where I am today, and I would not be sitting here making this video. I would probably, I hate to say it, still be stuck where I was. And it was, how do I explain this? I'm going to put it this way. Anybody that knows my ex-husband or who knows about, about him, or have seen my story from beforehand, understand that the saying that the picture could be beautiful, but the inside story behind it, or what's behind the picture, what happens after the picture, could be a completely different storm. And it's the truth. I'm going to try not to cry about this, because I know it's going to happen. People can paint a pretty picture and it not be like that behind closed doors at all. And now everybody probably is like, okay, she was in one of those relationships. Yeah, even, the pretty girl that grew up in South Florida, like I said, can go through some shit. And it wasn't just, it was not just his fault. I'm not going to sit and blame things. I'm not a saint. I, did my fair share of things that I probably shouldn't have in my relationship. But I also feel like I'm in a place where I can voice my opinion now and not really give 3 shits, I hate to say it that way, what people think at the end of the day, whether they judge me for what I did or not. I just want to be able to reach someone and say that it's going to be okay and you can get out. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up as best as possible. And this is such, like I said, it's the dirty, gross corner of, the room in my life. And just, yeah, it's the shitty part that nobody wants to talk about. It's the one thing that, like politics, you don't talk about at the dining room table at dinner time. But I feel like it needs to be talked about. I see so many girls, so many friends, so many, friends of friends kind of situation, or hear stories, or just talking to people that have gone through something similar or are going through it. And I'm at a point where I want people to know that it's okay to walk away, that there is a happy ending at the end of the day. And, our moms, especially, our kids are our number one, no matter what, and you have to think of them ahead of time. So yeah, again, major topics for me are going to be, my love for animals, my mental health, motherhood, pregnancy, fertility, all of it. And I'm going to go over everything. This is going to be more or less like, I guess you could say like a diary in a sense of my stories, because, what is technology nowadays? It's freaking being on your phone and making videos. and sharing them with the world. And like I said, my personal journey, I hope, it shares with somebody and it makes an impact for them. And it speaks to them, and it makes them feel good, or, feel that they are comfortable enough to come and ask questions or talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be talking to me. It could be going to a therapist, as simple as that, to seek help. And, and the last major topic is just relationships and how all that plays into, mental health, and a major topic, domestic, physical, verbal, emotional abuse. It is something so unfortunately common that should not be common nowadays, and it is. And those words, it's like a heart-wrenching thing to talk about, but it's part of my story. And I want people to understand that if I can make it through it, anybody can make it through anything, and that it's going to be okay, and there is, that light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, so this is my video. Y'all get to watch me ugly cry, so you're welcome. And I will be back probably next week. I'm going to, jot down some ideas for videos that I would like to go over, and just start picking them at random until people start responding back to me and telling me, hey, can you talk more about this? Or, hey, let's skip over this one. This isn't something that's important to me, whatever the case may be. I just want to be able to fill you guys in and go from there. And if it helps somebody, it helps something immediately. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But y'all have a great Tuesday. Enjoy this long ass video. And I'm going to go back to watching TV and hanging out with my dogs until my amazing other half gets home and we get to go and have our, afternoon date that we normally do during the week. So, alright, y'all have a great afternoon.